So as far as tipping goes, I think people have actually reached a tipping point. And I think I can...
See what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Yes, sir.
And I think I can identify exactly where the revolution now has really become something a little bit more intense. And I think one of you guys called it out yesterday. It's when now you purchase something and they turn around the screen and the tip immediately, the first one that you can approve is like 25% now. It seems to me like that's where people are like, freak, no more. I don't know.
Because you have to feel guilty if you walk away and don't tip when you don't even know what you're tipping for.
Right. So I'm a little bit confused about, because I always want to tip, even when I'm in foreign countries and they don't really even expect a tip. As an American, I think we're so used to tipping that when I walk away and I'm only leaving 10%, which is what that country, or no tip at all, in some cases, when I walk away, I feel so guilty about it. But look, this is not strictly an American thing, but certainly the amount that we tip is an American thing.
I would agree. And it has become, and I was somebody who worked in the service industry for a very long time. Mo, I know you were also a server. And, you know, I think I am a proud tipper and I'm a proud over tipper. And I think you should be, because I think the service industry can be a very thankless job. But even I can stand back and look and be like, this has just gotten extra. And I mean, there are some people, I saw some woman, and this was going viral on social media, where she had her receipt and she was filling it out, and she had went and picked up carry out, right, from a restaurant. And it had suggested tips like the 18%, 20%, 22%. She scratched out every single one of them. And then in the tip area, she put no tip for carry out. And I'm like, we all got to get on the same page here, because somebody sat there and packed up your food and put your ranch and your blue cheese and its little condiment sides for your wings. Like that's an instance where I think tipping is should still be expected.
Yeah, I think so. So let's debate some of these, okay? First of all, there was a survey taken last year, and it says 2/3 of Americans have reached a tipping point.
A tipping saturation?
Literally a tipping saturation point. So I went on to Reddit and literally did a search on what are things you will absolutely not tip for. And the first one was harsh, because I do think it's a problem in our country that we're not paying our employees enough. So they rely on tips. And this first one is kind of harsh. Anywhere that's getting paid minimum wage for services provided, they are not tipping. You're not entitled to tips if you're being paid properly. It's not my problem. If the boss doesn't pay you enough, that's between you and your boss. You're also not entitled to tips for doing the absolute bare minimum. Tips are earned, not demanded.
I mean, that's tough. And I think the reason we've all gotten so accustomed to tipping is we understand that a lot of these places don't pay their employees a livable wage. And so that's why we tip. But it's also hard to know, like, how do I know if your boss is paying you a livable wage or not? You know what I mean? So I feel like there needs to be, like, I wish someone would just put out a codex of, like, these are all the places and let's just all get on the same page so nobody has to be mad at each other.
This dude says, crumble cookie. Seriously, you put it in a bag.
I don't think I've ever tipped at crumble cookie.
I don't know that I have. I'm sure I have.
Yeah, if the screen,
I've
gone.
Yeah.
I take Jimmy in there. I'll get him a cookie, and if the screen has if the screen asks for a tip, I always tip.
There's an internal.
I can't not tip.
There's an internal dude in my head going, "Really? Are you going to tip for this?" But then I always end up giving it.
Is it just crumble cookie? Because like you go to the liquor store and you put the bottle on the counter and they'll turn around and ask you for a tip.
That's on here also. The liquor store next to my work has a tip option on the debit machine.
Okay, y'all need to go to my.
I don't understand that one.
Y'all need to go to my liquor store, because that does not happen at
Really?
Brand's.
It does. It does at mine.
It does at mine,
It
yeah.
certainly does.
I was just going to say, like, I feel like we've lost what tips were for. Like, you used to give the money at the beginning of the meal to ensure good service, right? And then it became after the meal to thank for good service. And now it's like, 25% because you picked out your own bottle of liquor. Like,
Right.
you did nothing.
This woman was upset because they asked her for a tip at a self-serve yogurt place.
It's
I've seen
self-serve.
that. My yogurt place used to do that. And yes, like Kristen, I tipped.
So you literally, have you been in one of these?
No.
Yeah, you literally go in. It's got all the different like frozen yogurts, and it almost looks like a keg. And you pour your yogurt by yourself. You put it into a packaging by yourself. You add all the other stuff by yourself. You bring it up to the cash register. All they do is ring you up, and they are asking for a tip.
Yeah, no way.
Okay, but here's what we're forgetting. We control this narrative. Don't tip. Like if you did all that and if you feel like they don't deserve a tip. Now, if you are eating in the restaurant and you will potentially like get some yogurt on the table and they're going to have to clean it off, I think that would be nice to do them a solid and to do a tip. But if you're putting that into a to-go container, and you are walking out of the store and you don't want to tip, then don't tip.
But I want them to like me.
We are literally in control of the situation.
And I feel like we're getting mad at the wrong people too. Like those workers don't choose the payment system. We should be mad at their bosses who are squirreling away that extra cash so we have to pay their employees more.
Here's one most of us can relate to here. Starbucks. You're always making that decision when you go to Starbucks. They are literally doing the job they are hired to do. It says, you aren't bringing me my drink or my food. I have to stand and wait for it. It's fast food, same as McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King. You agree with that?
I mean,
I don't go to Starbucks, but I agree with that.
yeah, I mean, technically it is fast food. I mean, there's a drive-through. Like you're ordering something, they're bringing it to the window. Like I get it, but
Yeah. That's what I find so frustrating about the tipping thing in general. Like as Cassie said, it was started to ensure proper service, and I'm like, why do I gotta pay you for the job? Like it just doesn't make sense. Period. Like I wish, like why can't you just charge me what you want to be charged instead of making me do the math and like pay you more because I want you to like me and do I pay this? It's just it's awful.
So this is the one I found infuriating and I didn't tip on when it was asked of me. Online clothing stores.
no.
Tip.
A tip. So you go there. Yes, it has happened to me. You're online, you make your purchase, and they ask you a tip. And some of them are just reselling clothes from a different website, and they are asking you for a tip at the end of it. Now, because I don't see this person eye to eye, I feel like I don't have to tip. But it's happened to me before also. Like, I don't know who is doing what. I don't know this person, and it's an online purchase. I'm supposed to tip for that?
Can I ask a favor now? When people go download the podcast, after every podcast, can we ask for a tip?
Their tip is going to be stop talking.
The Bert Show.